Basketball. 1975 through 1979. Did you know that my master was a great basketball player while in high school? His junior and senior year, he was the most valuable player. When my master was in the 8th grade, he also played on the junior high school basketball team. If you ask me, it was a terrible mistake. My master had no skills and often, he would make a fool out of himself. He was always nervous and his point production would remain at zero. I don't know why, he let Coach Roy Stevens persuade him to join the team. After a year off and much more involvement with the game of basketball, my master evolved into a baller worth the respect. While playing in the 10th grade, on the junior varsity team, it was much more evident that he was a star being born. On this CD, there's a composition of newspaper articles, in reference to master getting busy on the court. At the tender age of 45, my master is still getting busy. Basketball. We just love it. With another newspaper article. Well, of course, it's about my master balling up a storm. The headlines went as follows. Broncos pass Suffolk. Stay in title contention. Franklin's Broncos stayed in contention for the Peanut District Championship and possibly knocked Suffolk out with an 82-74 win over the Red Raiders. The win improved the Broncos district record to 8-4, 9-5 overall. Suffolk dropped to 8-5 in district play. The Broncos trailed 18-6 after one quarter, but came back to score 76 in the last 3 periods and win easily. We didn't hit well against the 1-3-1 zone they threw at us in the first quarter, explained Franklin's coach, Mike Head. Suffolk is usually a man-to-man team and that's what we prepared for. Coach Allen was smart to use that zone against us. So, how did the Broncos come back and win? We were really hot in the second period and we took good shots, Head explained. The Broncos hit 13 of 20 second quarter field goal attempts to score 29 points in the period and tie the halftime score at 35. Bryant led the Broncos with 23 points, followed by Ed Hosky with 17, Tommy Adams with 14 and Willie Jones with 10. B. Perkinson, bringing basketball to you from newspaper articles of the past. Of course, it's all about my master, Bryant. Check out this article. The headlines went as follows. Forest Glen, 73 Franklin, 65. The Forest Glen Rangers rallied in the fourth quarter to down Franklin, 73-65. Franklin carried a 50-49 lead into the fourth quarter, but were outscored by Forest Glen, 24-15, in that period. Willie Barnes, the Suffolk area leading scorer, paced Forest Glen with 27 points. Dwayne Struthers added 12. Bryant Perkinson powered Franklin with 21 points, while Ed Hosky had 14 and Willie Jones had 13. Basketball, basketball. We love it. My master, like I, is head over heels with basketball. Check out this article. The headline was Franklin, 77 Windsor, 45, applying tenacious man-to-man full court pressure. Franklin blew Windsor out in the second quarter and rolled to a 77-45 Peanut District win. 10 different Broncos scored, with Bryant Perkinson leading all scorers with 19. Joining him in double figures were Tommy Adams, 11, Clifton Parrington, 10, and Donald Harris, 10. Ben Barr was the high scorer for the Dukes with 13. The win was Franklin's third in a row, and moved them into third place with Southampton and John Yeats at 7-4. The loss dropped Windsor's record to 2-8. Charlie interrupting. In that game, my master got busy in front of the home crowd. Don't mean to brag on my master behalf, but he was the man. During his 3 years on his high school basketball team, in one game, he hit the game-winning shot. Check out the article. The headline went like this: Heroics do it again. Franklin tops John Yeats. If there's a moral here, it would seem to be, don't let it go down to the wire with Franklin. They'll beat you every time. Just last Friday, the Broncos were battling Central down the stretch, and Jimmy Jones planked one home with 7 seconds to play to give Franklin a 42-41 win over the Tigers. Then last night, in a game moved up a day, the Broncos did in John Yeats with the same kind of last gasp histrionics, 43-42. This time, John Yeats held a 42-41 lead on Jerry Godwin's basket with 11 seconds remaining. Perkinson got free on an 8-footer and fired it home with 2 seconds remaining to give Franklin its 6th district win. Against 4 defeats, the Broncos had beaten Yeats at Franklin in the season's opener. For both teams, 50-51. The defeat last night dropped Yeats into 3rd place, behind Northampton and Forest Glen. The Chargers are now 7-3 in the district. Northampton, the league leader, is 9-1 and Forest Glen is 7-2. Northampton plays at Suffolk tonight, Central at Forest Glen, John F. Kennedy at Windsor, and Southampton at Smithfield. Jerry Godwin did his bit for John Yeats last night, scoring 16 of his 20 points in the final period, and twice getting his team ahead in the seesaw 4th quarter. Perkinson led Franklin, scoring 12. Franklin led most of the way, but Yeats took the lead twice in the last 2 minutes before succumbing in the last seconds. Charlie and I have something for you. It's a newspaper clipping concerning my master. When I read the clipping, it made me so proud. The clipping is 24 years old. Why don't I just read it to you? As you know, Bryant was a pretty good basketball player in high school. During the final regular season game of 1979, Bryant got busy on the basketball court. The newspaper headlines went like this: Kennedy falls by 14. Bryant Perkinson hit 27 points, including 13 of 16 free throw attempts, to lead Franklin to an 80-66 victory over John F. Kennedy. The Broncos finished their regular season in 3rd place in the Peanut District, with an 11-5 regular record, 12-6 overall. If John Yeats beats Suffolk tonight, Franklin will end up in sole possession of the 3rd spot. The Broncos trailed by 1 point at halftime, and led by only 3 after 3 periods, but scored 26 points in the final stanza to run away with the win. Willie Jones added 13 points for Franklin, followed by Edward Hosky with 12, and Greg Holloway with 10. Coming at you with another basketball story. When my master was in the Marine Corps, he played on several basketball teams. On December 17, 1982, he played for the Camp Hansen team, which was located overseas, in Japan. This is the newspaper article I want to read to you. The headlines went like this: Futenma wins championship. Downs Hansen's best, 92-80. Camp Kinser. The Futenma All-Stars downed Hansen's best, 92-80. To capture the men's intercamp basketball championship here, Sunday. Futenma was undefeated in week-long tournament play. Their overall height advantage, adept shooters and cores of jumpers, were too much for their competition. They convinced Camp Courtney, 110-77, edged a tough Camp Schwab team, 89-86, and defeated Hansen in their first match, 98-87. On the other hand, Hansen found things a little tougher. They defeated a hastily organized Foster team, 67-61, and defeated 3rd place, Camp Kinser, twice, 83-81, and 63-61, while losing only to Futenma. The rematch with Futenma was thrilling, though Hansen was playing catch-up most of the game. The pace was upbeat from the opening tip, but poor shooting by both teams accounted for a low-scoring half. Futenma players missed early long-range shots, while Hansen players missed their first 4 attempts. Futenma didn't score until nearly 2 minutes into the game. Atop of the key jumper, Eric Chaplin, however, was sign of things to come. Greg Jazzy Rochester found it difficult to find the handle on several early rebounds, but he was getting inside position on a regular basis, and proved to be a rebound menace in the second half. Nevertheless, Hansen stayed close in the first half, with Futenma managing only 4-point leads. But it was Tierce Connor, a quicksilver Hansen guard, who paced his team with short jumpers, driving layups and several assists that gave Hansen a short-lived 22-21 lead before Futenma erupted for a 36-29 halftime lead. Futenma carried the momentum into the second half and opened up a 17-point lead midway through the half. It looked like the game was over, but Hansen's guards thought otherwise. Victor Mays, who arrived for the game late in the first half, Connor and Bryant Perkinson keyed a scoring surge that pulled the team within 3 points, 81-78. The team had a chance to pull within 1 point when Wendell Jordan was fouled in the act of shooting. Jordan, who was having a tough shooting night, missed both free throws. Meanwhile, Futenma continued to dominate inside play, as Rochester became the team version on National Basketball Association's superstar, Moses Malone. He scored almost at will inside, while Cliff Washington and Kirk Long added other inside scores to help offset the Hansen's surge. Chaplin and Thomas banged outside jumpers from 10 to 15 feet between shifts of the Hansen half-court press. The balance of scoring led to Hansen's demise, as Futenma's late scoring surge secured them the 92-80 championship victory. The hard-fought game wasn't for naught. Hansen earned a second-place finish in the tournament. Charlie interrupting. There you have it. Charlie coming back at you. Isn't basketball a wonderful game? Every time I see my master play, I get so excited. During the summer of 1977, he played summer league basketball in Franklin, Virginia. The coach of the team was Roger Owens. Bryant's teammates were Cornell Parker, also known as Candy, Leon Everett, Curtis Warren, Joe Beeman, Pete Austin, Michael Vinson, Darryl Magette and a few others. The team Bryant was on was called the Bombers. At this point, I will read 3 newspaper articles where the Bombers were victorious. The first article goes as follows. Bombers bombs UC. The Bombers broke out of a close game at halftime, outscoring Union Camp 38-22 in the final 20 minutes for a 66-53 win. Bryant Perkinson led the Bombers with 18 points, followed by Joe Beeman with 16, and Curtis Warren with 14. Herbert Ellie led UC with 21, followed by Jeff Madry with 12. Another game that Bryant participated in. The Bombers beat Sportsmen's Association. The score was 68-65. Joe Beeman and Bryant Perkinson had 14 and 13 points respectively to lead the Bombers past Sportsmen's. The Bombers led at halftime, 28-27. Billy Lane had 17 points and Tony Adams added 16 for Sportsmen's. The third game had the Bombers playing against Thornton Livesey. The final score was the Bombers 89, Thornton Livesey 80. Bryant Perkinson scored 25 points to lead the Bombers in their upset win over league leader Thornton Livesey. The Bombers jumped out to a 47-32 halftime lead. Joel Copeland had 26 points for Thornton but got no help in stopping the Bombers inside, as the Bombers got 60 points from their front line. Joe Beeman and Pete Austin added 16 points for the Bombers. Guards Alton Reed and William Russell added 18 and 17 points respectively for Thornton. There you have it. Bryant getting busy with the rock. Basketball. 1975 through 1979.